So Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is finally here, and this game is actually way bigger than I thought it would be. The map is freaking enormous. There is so much to explore and so much to figure out as well. And so today I wanted to go over 7 things you may not know you can do in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now, getting straight into it, this one is something that I think pretty much everyone is going to miss, to be honest. I've only seen this through articles online. I actually have not figured this out myself in game, and this is the fact that you can see a complete breakdown of all of your stats. And you can see this essentially progress as you progress through the game and obviously upgrade your character. All we need to do to be able to see this is click on the combat level icon on the top right of your character screen. It is just the number up there in the top right. And this will then show you a complete breakdown of all of your stats, all of your perks, as well as your bonuses too. And so if you are interested in the, analytics of the game and trying to get all of your stats and all that kind of thing, then this is a very handy tip to know. And obviously, as you upgrade your character, it is really good to kind of come back and check and see how much all of these stats are actually growing throughout the game. Now, the next one on the list is actually very simple at the end of the day, but it is very, very easy to overlook simply because other characters in the game do not do this. Now, when you actually walk over an AMP or an AMP unit, you can actually collect ammo from them for all of your different, human weapons. So obviously not for the bow and arrows and stuff like that, but for your assault rifle, your shotgun and stuff like that, you can pick up ammo from those AMP units. Now, the reason I put this in here, because I know a lot of you are going to say that is completely obvious. However, with the regular RDA soldiers and just most of the things in this game, except for the wildlife that you kill, you can't actually loot their bodies. And so for a while there, this didn't seem like it was actually possible. I was not walking up to the AMP units because I thought, well, I can't loot the RDA soldiers, so why would I be able to loot the AMP units? Well, it turns out you actually can. And this is essentially the #1 way to get ammo for those weapons. So every time you take out an AMP unit, be sure to walk over their body and you will be replenished with plenty of different ammo. Now, the next thing that you may not have known in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is actually the fact that the outposts in this game are meant to be taken out in a stealthy way. The reason I say that is that when you complete an outpost in stealth, essentially meaning they didn't notice you, at the end when you do check the, loot room at the end of that outpost, you will have way more goodies for you to pick up. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, every time you take out an outpost in this game, there is pretty much a loot room that has a bunch of chests and stuff like that in it. And like I said, when you do this stealthily, that means that all of those chests are going to be available for you to loot. However, if you don't do it stealthily and you just run in guns blazing, which don't get me wrong, is very fun to do, when you check that loot room at the end of the outpost, there will be only, say, half of those chests that are available to loot. The reason for this is that apparently the RDA soldiers actually go in there once they're alerted and they take some of the ammo and stuff like that for themselves. At least that is the story behind it. Anyway, I'm not sure whether they physically do that or not, but either way, it pretty much pays to do the outpost as stealthy as you can because it is going to result in a lot more loot. Now, the loot rooms in general are something that you also may not have known about, just because I actually did not know this, and early on in the game, when you unlock the shotgun, which is done, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but it is one of the main missions, I did not know about these loot rooms either, and so that's actually kind of a bonus one in this, that just make sure to check the loot rooms in general, whether you go in guns blazing or not, because for about 3 to 4 hours after I finished that mission, I did not have the shotgun, and I was kind of wondering when I was going to unlock a new weapon. Well, it turns out I had unlocked it and I just hadn't picked it up from that loot room. So every time you take out an outpost, be sure to try and find that loot room. They are generally fairly easy to find and they kind of point you in the right direction. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is plenty more Avatar content on the way right here on the channel. But with that being said, let's get stuck back into it. Now, something else that I did not notice straight away is that you can actually store hacks when you hack, for example, an AMP unit, and then you can kind of do them all at the same time to override all of those AMP units at once rather than taking them out individually. All you have to do is just do the regular hack process, but instead of moving your cursor to the right once you've completed the hack, you just move it to the left where it will say store hack. That will then just mean that that AMP unit is technically hacked, but it's just waiting for you to actually do the override. And then I believe you can do up to 4. It could be more than that. I've just never actually tested that out, and it only shows 4 on the screen at any given time. But you can pretty much do a bunch of those AMP units at once. And then once you override them all at the same time, they will all shut down simultaneously. And this can be very, very good for staying stealthy and allowing you to kind of get through those outposts a lot easier. Now, something else I think a lot of people are actually going to miss is that there is a hidden challenge system in this game. What you want to do is at the home tree, you want to go up the ramp on the right as you enter. Then you want to head over to the left here and out the pathway that kind of leads you outside. Now, instead of continuing on the path that will then lead you to the top of the home tree that you kind of do throughout the main story, you actually want to turn around and kind of head to your left there, and you'll come across a few characters and a cutscene. From here, they will actually give you items that are purchasable with a new type of currency, which is beads. And these can only be earned by doing these daily and weekly challenges. Like I said, I think a lot of people are going to miss out on this, unfortunately, because it's not very obvious. However, it does seem like it is a pretty important element of the game. They've obviously put a lot of time into these challenges and being able to have a whole other storefront that is only available to purchase things through the bead system. And so make sure you're doing these, and they're actually fairly easy for the most part, and they're also pretty fun to do. So it just adds more stuff for you guys to do in this game. Now, the next thing you may not have known you can do is that there is actually a strafe jumping or strafe dodging mechanic in this game. Obviously, when you're just running forward and you press jump, you will just do a regular jump. Depending on how fast you're moving, you'll maybe jump a little bit forward, or obviously if you're just stagnant, you'll jump straight in the air. Now, it turns out that if you are moving side to side, or even if you are moving backwards and then you hit jump, you will actually do a side jump essentially, or a strafe jump as they're called. And this is going to be very, very handy when it comes to combat, being able to pretty much try and dodge bullets and make it a lot harder for the RDA soldiers to hit you. It's also really good against creatures. For example, some of the hounds that will chase you. If you just dodge backwards when they're about to attack you, they will not be able to hit you. And so this is a very good mechanic that, again, was not really made all that obvious. That's something that you can kind of come across just on accident. If you're running around jumping and you're, going sideways, you'll figure it out for yourself. But I think a lot of people aren't actually going to find this. So this is very useful for combat, especially if you are playing on those higher difficulties. Now, the last thing you may not have known that you can do is that there are certain injured creatures throughout the world of Pandora that are pretty much injured by the RDA. What's happened is they've been pretty much planted with some sort of like tracking chip or something like that. And you'll see them sometimes limping around, or they make it very obvious that they are injured. And it turns out you can actually help these and get some free spare parts in doing so. All you need to do when you find one of these creatures is that you can go up to them and hold a square or X. This will then sort of calm them down. You can go up to them and you'll pretty much give them a bit of a pat and take whatever the dart is out of their body. They'll then just obviously run off all happy and healthy, but in the meantime, you have just gotten some free spare parts for doing so, and these are pretty tough to come by, if I'm going to be honest, and they are very helpful for crafting different things in this game, namely some of the explosive ammos and stuff like that. So if you ever see an injured creature, definitely go up, try and calm them down and take that dart out of them, and you will get some free spare parts for doing so. But anyway, guys, those are 7 things that you may not have known you can do in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. If there's anything you think I missed, be sure to leave a comment down below. There is every chance I can do a follow-up to this one as well. And like I said before, if this video did help you out, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is plenty more Avatar content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.